Okay, let's be real for a second. Finding a home, it's one of the biggest, most complicated decisions we ever have to make. And now, AI is stepping onto the scene, looking to totally shake up how we do it. So today, we're going to dive into Zillow's new conversational AI and figure out what it could mean for the future of searching for a home.
You know the drill, right? We've all been there. You're on a website, just clicking box after box. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, needs a backyard, has to be in this zip code. And what happens? You're still scrolling through what feels like a million listings that are almost right, but not quite. It's just exhausting. But what if that whole search could feel more like a conversation?
And that's exactly the idea behind Zillow's new AI mode. The whole point is to ditch the filters. Instead, you just talk to it. You ask questions in plain English just like you would with a person, and the AI's job is to figure out what you're really looking for.
So, what does that actually mean, a conversational search? Let's break down just how different this is from the way we've been doing things forever.
Yeah, this really shows the huge shift. Think about it. On one side, you've got the old way, this really rigid manual process. You click some filters, you get a list, and that's it. But on the other side, with Zillow's AI, it's this living, breathing conversation. You ask questions, naturally, and the results actually change and get better as the AI starts to get what you want.
And here's the really powerful part. It's not just a one-and-done search. The AI actually has a memory. It remembers what you liked, what you told it you hated, the questions you asked last week. It builds on your conversation, creating this totally personal experience that honestly just gets smarter and more helpful the more you interact with it.
You know, Zillow's own SVP of AI, Josh Weisberg, put it really well. He said it's not just about spinning out a list of houses. The real goal here is to bring some much-needed clarity to what is, let's face it, a super complex decision. It's about helping you figure out what you can actually afford and what things in a home really matter to you.
Okay, so we get the what, but what about the how? How does this actually work when you're using it? Let's walk through what that looks like.
So it all starts with you just asking a question, and you don't need any special keywords. You can ask something huge and complicated like, hey, is it better to rent or buy in Miami right now? The AI then crunches the data and gives you some starting points. But here's the really cool part. It doesn't stop there. It starts asking you follow-up questions to dig deeper and really refine the search.
And the kind of questions it can tackle is pretty amazing. We're talking about stuff that used to take hours of research. You can ask about affordability, you can ask it to compare 2 homes with really specific features, or to tell you about different neighborhoods. You can even ask about things like strategies for making an offer, or, get this, what a kitchen renovation might cost. It's wild.
All right, so the big question, when can you get your hands on this? Well, right now it's in a closed beta with a small group of users, but Zillow is expecting to roll it out fully across their app and website sometime in 2026.
So, with a big rollout coming, you can see how this is going to change the game for home buyers. But that immediately brings up a huge question for everyone else in the industry. What in the world does this mean for real estate agents?
Yeah, this is the elephant in the room, isn't it? If this AI can hold your hand through all the early research, does that mean the real estate agent is obsolete? Is their job on the line?
Well, Zillow's official answer is a pretty firm no. According to Josh Weisberg, again, the idea is to shift an agent's role, not get rid of it. And honestly, that's a pattern we're seeing with AI in a ton of different fields.
And this slide really spells out what that shift looks like. Basically, the AI handles the early stage stuff, the basic research, answering those first-round questions. That frees up the human agent to focus on the things that require, a human. We're talking high-stakes, strategic work like pricing, intense negotiations, and guiding clients through the really complex parts of a transaction.
So, when you boil it all down, the goal is for the AI to act as this superpowered filter. By the time a client gets to a real estate agent, they've already done a ton of their own homework. They're going to be way more informed, way more serious, and pretty much ready to make a move.
Okay, but with any powerful AI like this, especially when it's dealing with your future home, trust is absolutely everything. So you have to wonder, what is Zillow doing to make sure this thing is actually helpful and, not causing problems?
They've put in place what they're calling AI guardrails. The system is constantly checking itself, looking at the questions people ask and the answers it gives to make sure everything's on the level. A huge piece of this is preventing what's called discriminatory steering, which is illegal. They're trying to make sure the AI isn't pushing people towards or away from certain neighborhoods based on demographics. And it's built to give you real advice first, before it ever tries to sell you on one of Zillow's other tools.
At the end of the day, all these rules are there for one reason: to make sure the experience is useful, and most importantly, that you can trust it. Because if you don't trust it, you're just not going to use it.
All right, so let's zoom out a bit. Where is all of this headed? As this tech gets better and more people start using it, what's the future of finding a home actually going to look like? We're already getting a little peek from the early beta tests, and it turns out people are asking about the big three. First, affordability. Can I actually afford this? That's almost half the questions. Then it's about neighborhoods, and finally, comparing specific features between homes. No surprises there, right? These are the absolute core questions of any home search.
But let's be clear, this is probably just the starting line. Zillow thinks that as we all get more comfortable chatting with an AI about this stuff, our questions are going to get way more complex. We'll start asking about things deeper in the buying process, way beyond just the initial search.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to chew on. As AI takes over more and more of the data crunching and the research, what does that mean for the rest of us? What are those uniquely human skills, things like sharp negotiation, real empathy, and gut-level strategic thinking that are going to become even more valuable in this new world? It's definitely something worth thinking about.